Welcome to the American Dream in the Eyes of Immigrants podcast. I am your host, Heidy De La Cruz, and I am on the mission to change the narrative of immigration, one immigrant story at a time. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the American Dream in the Eyes of Immigrants podcast. I am your host, Heidy De La Cruz. And today I have Miss Erika with us from Inglés Pa Mi Gente. And I am so excited to have you on. So excited to hear your journey of coming to the U.S. from Colombia and then also your brand. Thank you again so much for making this work in your summer hours. And so if you can introduce yourself, who you are, what you do, and then we'll get right into growing up in Colombia.
Yay! My name is Erika. I am an English teacher. I always say ESL teacher first, and I am a new American. I just became an American 5 months ago.
Oh my
But
gosh,
I thank
congratulations.
you. I'm now officially a person with 3 passports, which is my biggest accomplishment. I am like, I travel with my passports. I'm so excited. I have a passport from the United States now,
Okay.
Colombia, and Spain. So I don't
Wow.
know what to choose. I am like, I am everything.
Oh, that is amazing. I've never heard of 3. I've heard of 2, but
Yes.
not 3. Wow.
Yes, I posted a picture of my 3 passports when I got my citizenship, and
Yeah.
some people were like, one is fake, this is not true, because there is a misconception that you can only have 2 citizenships,
2.
which is
Okay.
true by birth, but you
Okay.
can get naturalized in other countries. So you can have 2 if your mom and dad, but then if you go live in another country and you become a citizen by naturalization,
Yeah.
then you have as many as you want.
But there are certain countries where you do have to give one up, right? In order to become.
That
Okay.
mhm.
Okay.
In some
So,
countries, they require that, but the US doesn't, so they allow
okay,
it.
so the US doesn't. Obviously Colombia doesn't, and neither does Spain then.
Yeah, I got lucky.
Okay. Oh my, wow, I learned something new. Wow, that
Yep.
is so cool. Okay. So we can definitely talk about that a little bit later, but I would love to get into growing up in Colombia and then your journey to the US.
Yes, I grew up in Colombia. Actually, I didn't live that much in Colombia because I left Colombia when I was 9,
Oh,
to Spain first. So I first came to Spain. My parents came here in the 90s from Colombia. Colombia in the 90s was a little rough. As you can imagine, we had a lot of problems with violence and all kinds of stuff, and my mom wanted us to have a better life, so she came to Spain. A lot of people from Colombia came to Spain because of the language. People were
okay.
scared to go into United States because of the language barrier, so a lot of people went to a lot of my family, they either are in Spain or the United States. My mom came to
Okay.
Spain, and I was here until I was 20. When I was getting a degree in my university here, I'm in a town that is called Mallorca. It's an island in the Mediterranean Sea, but it belongs to Spain. And I was just minding my own business, studying English and
Yeah.
hospitality management because we are in a very touristic island. So imagine like Honolulu, like everybody works in tourism. So I wanted to really improve my English. Back in the day, I didn't speak English back in the day, so I was a volunteer for the American students that came to my university. And in one of those groups, I met a young man and I fell in love with that young man. And then that's how I ended up living in the United States.
Wow. Okay. Where from the United what state was he from in the United States?
Idaho, which I had no
No.
clue what it was or where it was,
Yes.
anything. So he always explained. He still does it to this day. We have been married
Yeah.
for 10 years now, together 15, and he also always like, "I'm from Idaho," and people are like, "New
Mm,
York, Miami, LA,"
yes, yes. The
and he's
big
always like,
cities.
"Okay, this is the United States. This is New York. This is LA. This is Canada. This is Idaho,
Oh
right
my
here on the
gosh.
border, northwest of the United States."
Idaho. Okay, so you're in Spain. You're being a volunteer, you meet your now husband. So tell us about that. Did you initially want to move to the US or did you guys talk about like, oh, whether we stay here in Spain or how was that for you guys?
Okay, it's a long story, but I'll make it podcast version, okay?
Okay.
Um, I never imagined going through an immigration journey again. I mean, it was so
Oh,
different the
yeah.
first time in Spain. I had my life in Spain, my everything here.
Mhm.
But I met my husband. I'm 2 years older than him. So
Okay.
the year that he stayed here for 1 year, he was studying Spanish and I was
Mhm.
studying English. So it was like a
Aw.
perfect match.
Yeah.
And his year to study abroad came to an end. And I graduated that June, and it was time for him to go back to America. He studied
Yeah.
in Utah, and I graduated. So I thought, you know what? I just graduated. I'm in love with this guy, but we're 21. But I always wanted to learn English.
Yeah.
It's my dream to speak English, to learn English. So how about I just apply to a visa? It's called the J1 visa. A lot of
Mhm.
immigrants know of this visa because it's a exchange visa. And I applied in May and I got it in June. And I got
Wow.
my visa in June and to work as an au pair, which is the fancy way to say nanny.
A nanny, yes.
Got it the same month that he was coming back to States. I got my visa in the state of Colorado in Denver. And he came back to study in Salt Lake City, Utah. And I didn't know anything about the States. I wasn't
Yeah.
that involved. So I just called him and I say, hey, if you want, we can keep dating long distance. I'm moving to a state called Colorado. Is that close to Utah? And
No.
he said, no,
Oh, to
no.
Utah, Utah, Utah. Yeah, sorry, I'm thinking Idaho still.
He said, yes, it's close. Sure, let's do long distance. So I went to Colorado to study English for 2 years until he graduated from college. And then after he graduated from college, we decided to travel the world and be ESL teachers together.
Oh, how sweet.
Yes, very adventurous.
Yeah, and so young too at 21. Oh my
Very
gosh.
young.
Yeah.
Exactly. We're 21. We can live together or get married, but we can keep trying new ways to do these things. So that's what we did for years. We were just like long distance relationship. Then we decided to become ESL teachers in South America.
Okay.
So we actually went back to Colombia. As I went back to Colombia as an adult to be an ESL teacher in the coffee plantations, they have a lot of like rural areas where there are kids that help their parents to pick up coffee in the
Mhm.
afternoons, but in the morning they go to this isolated school and they needed two teachers of English. So my
Wow.
husband and I went there and we lived there for a little while teaching English to these kids. It was amazing,
So
beautiful.
how was it visiting Colombia again or going back
As an
home to Colombia?
adult, it
Yeah.
was so different.
Yeah.
Because I left there when I was 9, I went back when I was 22 working, and, you know, when you leave your country, you idolize your country, right? Like, you have this idea, and I had this beautiful idea of Colombia, but then I went there, and it was still magical. Nature, food, amazing, but working and living, financial life there was hard,
Yeah.
and I still felt like I didn't fit in 100%,
Yeah.
um, because now I am like, I'm not 100% from here, but I'm not from Spain either. I'm having an
That
identity
in
crisis.
between.
That in
Mhm.
between forever, we live in this in between. And actually, that was like the crisis that led me to my company eventually because I was in Colombia. I was not feeling like I thought I will fit it right away, but I didn't.
Yeah.
And I told him, you know what? I feel like the only time I have ever felt like I fit in 100% was in my ESL classroom when I was a volunteer teaching and being a teacher. So actually, when I was volunteering in Colombia, I decided to go back to school and get my teaching degree to become an ESL teacher.
Wow.
While I was in Colombia, I went back to college in online and I got my linguistics degree. And eventually,
Wow.
we actually decided to get married eventually. And we moved to the States, to Idaho. That's
Okay.
the short story. And then I started being an ESL teacher in nonprofits that help new arrivals, immigrants, and people that come as refugees. And I had that job, and I was just like, okay, I'm never part of a country, but in the classroom, I
Yeah.
feel like this sense of belonging, you know?
Wow. Okay. It's crazy how I I stick to, certain themes when I talk to guests, but depending on, the person's background and everything that like we go a whole different way. So, oh my gosh, I'm just trying to take this all in. So from Spain to the United States, then to Colombia, then back to the United States. So how long were you guys in Colombia before moving back?
It was a short time, like a year.
A year. Okay, perfect. And then so coming back to the United States, did you guys do the fiance visa?
Yes, we also have the K-1 visa. I
Okay,
have
that
them
process.
all.
Yeah, you've done different ones, yes. Okay, so the fiancé visa, so then you guys had the 90 days to get
Yes.
married and all that fun stuff. Okay.
Other people don't know. You know it.
Oh, yes. I've interviewed a few people, but then also my husband likes to watch 90 Day Fiancé
Oh, I
on
love that. It's
so
cool.
he's gotten
You
me into
you
the
have to
show.
married. You enter the United States
Yeah.
and the clock starts ticking. You
Yep.
have 90 days to get married.
Yeah, yeah. So, okay, 90 days. So then you guys did all that, and then did you have to, like, reapply, for the permanent residency after 2 years?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. The whole man, you did the whole
Everything.
process, okay. Cool, so how was it living in Idaho? Like, tell me about the culture shocks, tell me about adjusting to it, like, how was that for you?
So, when I went to Colorado to be a nanny, I visited him in Utah and then I visited him in Idaho,
Okay.
where his family is. And, I wasn't, I felt strange in Utah. I felt strange in Colorado, but I don't know. I went to Idaho and it was love at first sight for me. I just
Wow.
love the peace, the tranquility, and nature. Idaho is nature. It's
Oh, wow.
beautiful outdoors, lakes and rivers and forests. I don't know. I just love that peace. It helped me to like quiet down my mind. I don't know. I really liked it. And he graduated college and he said, "Okay, when we get married, we're gonna live in Utah because that's where I live now and I love it." And I said, if we get married, I want to live in Idaho. And he said, what? I don't want to go back to my native state. And I say, that's the only place I want to live. I'm sorry. If I'm going to
Oh,
move to America, I want to live
yeah.
in this beautiful nature paradise. I actually loved it. Loved it. Boise. Have you ever heard about Boise?
I've heard of the city, but not anything, like, in the city or anything, no, I haven't.
It's a beautiful city because you get like urban life, but you also are within nature all the time. So it's like the perfect mix of urban life and nature life. And I just love that. It's a small city compared to like Denver, New York. It's a small city,
Yeah.
but people are just very welcoming actually. And I felt immediately like I'm part of the city. I felt very welcome. I felt a lot of
Wow.
warmth, which is surprising if you think Idaho,
Yes,
right?
yes.
I know, but that's my personal experience has been one of like welcoming. I just loved it, and I never wanted to leave. Like I've been living there for 10 years now, and I people ask me, "Do you want to go back to Spain or somewhere?" No, I'm happy. I love Idaho. I found my spot.
Well, that's what I was gonna ask you, like, where are you guys now? Because I know right now for the summer you're in Spain, but, like, where are you guys, set
Living
in
Idaho.
Idaho,
Idaho is
oh
our
my
home.
gosh. Okay.
We have a home, we have our children, our little house in Idaho, and I just love
Wow.
there. It's a city that is growing a lot, but it's just perfect size, and they are very engaged in civics and the environment and just like welcoming people, and I feel safe there. I love it.
Wow, that is so good. I'm so glad you have that experience. I really thought it was gonna be, like, the opposite way, but you're like, "No, like, I fit right in. That's the only place I wanted to live." That is awesome.
I love that. It wasn't very dramatic. I found there were three schools that work with immigrants. I work in all three of them in the whole city, and they are small but mighty. Like
Yeah.
they are really trying to help the immigrant community there, and it just as a very welcoming city in general. And they are really involved in community and just like the immigration. I mean, there are bad things, of course. There is not a lot of diversity,
Yeah.
One thing that I experimented a lot was like I was always the only Colombian. I was always
Mm.
the only like brown person in my company where I started working as a teacher. I started applying to a lot of jobs as an ESL teacher, and in a lot of companies they didn't hire me because I wasn't a native teacher. So
Oh.
they one thing that they really wanted was like if you're gonna teach English, it's better if you are a native speaker, right?
Mm.
But
Mhm.
I fought back with this argument. Well, actually, because I know how this feels and walking in the shoes of I don't speak English. I understand more. I have this other side of the story. I feel like I can empathize and engage this
Yeah.
in a different way. And I sent my cover letter with that story to one company in Boise, and they hire me because of that, because they say, you're right. Like, you understand how it is to learn a second language. So we're going to give you an opportunity. And I work in that company teaching ESL for 5 years before I
Yeah.
started my company.
Okay, so I feel like this is the perfect segue to then talk about your company, Inglés Pa Mi Gente. So how did that come about? Is it online? Like tell us other things.
It's online everywhere, Haiti. We are
Okay.
everywhere. I have made it a mission to be everywhere. We are in Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, Threads, everywhere, TikTok, anywhere you can think of. You can find us as Inglés Pa Mi Gente, which translates to English for my people.
Mhm.
What happened was I'm teaching working as an ESL teacher, and we have students from all over the place, right? People who speak Russian, Arabic, or people who speak Spanish and Ukrainian, and it's great. But I feel like having this big pool, we're helping a lot of people, but I'm not allowed to speak my native language, right? Like I'll
Mm.
always have to speak English. And people that just arrived yesterday, you just arrived yesterday from your
Mhm.
country, and you enter a classroom where they're speaking English 100%. Yes, immersion is a good way of learning, but not when you just arrived. I feel like
Mm.
I wanted to be able to speak Spanish and explain to them in their native language these other concepts and cultural concepts about English. So I decided that I wanted to write a program and start a company that was just for Spanish speakers, because I wanted to be involved with everybody, but I thought that I had to like narrow down
Yeah.
my mission a little bit more to have a biggest accomplishment and to help people more. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna start a company that is just for Spanish speakers. I mean, they are the number one minority in the States. So I said, I'm just gonna focus on this and help them, but start from absolutely zero. When I
Wow.
mean zero, I say -1. People don't even know the vowels in English. My
Okay.
students, I will tell them, how do you say a, e, I, o in English? They wouldn't know. So I say, I'm going to go back to the very beginning, like we are in kindergarten. And
Wow.
people, you're crazy. People already know that. And I say, you know what? A lot of people are assuming people know that, and people
Mhm.
embarrassed to say they don't know it. So I'm
Yeah.
going to make it about knowing nothing. So I call my course, and the beginning of my company was all, you know nothing, you know zero English. I am your teacher. And we start with just
Aw.
vowels, the alphabet, number one, two, three, four. And that's how the company took off with the most
Yeah.
basic concepts ever.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's awesome. So how long have you been doing this?
And now 4 years.
4 years. That is amazing. And so it's online. So how can people like if they want to learn, right? How can they sign up? How does it work?
So I started. I have a lot of free resources because, again, when we just arrive, not everybody has
Yes.
the resources to pay for courses. So I wanted to have like a very. We are a company. We have to make money, of course, but I have 50% free resources, 50% paid resources. So I always tell people to start with our free resources. I have a podcast that is for pronunciation and vocabulary for your job. So we're doing different kind of jobs, all jobs that you can think of. I am having classes that are free on Spotify to learn about the English and sentences that you need for your specific job. And I
Wow.
created a program called so I use a lot the Merriam-Webster dictionary, and they have a list of like the most used words in the language. So my
Okay.
podcast was all about the 300 words most used in daily life. and I started a podcast just in pronunciation for that. And that's how a lot of my people started learning with me, just listening and learning the.
Wow.
And then I say, now you can go to my subscription, which is only $24 a month, very affordable. And then after that, then we have a full personalized course on English from scratch. So we have different steps. We have free, affordable, and then a little bit more
Yeah.
higher.
Yeah, and, are you the one teaching, or do you have teachers on the team?
I'm the only teacher.
Oh my
Can you believe that?
goodness.
I am the only.
Wow.
At the beginning, it was me doing everything.
Mhm.
But now I kept my favorite job, which is teacher. And
Mm.
now finally I have people that help me with other things. I
Yeah,
hire people to help me with other things, but I'm still the only teacher. And this year, in 2025, I hired my first teacher, which guess who it was?
your husband.
Yeah. That's not-
Oh.
hired my second teacher, which was my husband.
Oh, that is so cool. Well, congratulations on all the success with this. You
You.
saw the need and you were like, I'm starting very basic, and that's how it took off, and that's awesome and amazing, and I love that. And you have the podcast, so you have all these free resources for people to learn. And how can people connect with you? I know it's Inglés Pa Mi Gente, so I'm assuming there's a website. The podcast
Yeah.
is the same name.
My podcast
Um
is again and on my social media. And I try to answer all of my messages
yeah,
on Instagram. Is my number one. I check my own Instagram.
okay.
My team helps me on the other social media because there's just so much to
It's so
do.
much, yeah.
But I keep Instagram. That's like my baby. I answer everything there, and then we have an email, and we have a whole tab on free resources on our website that people can.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I will definitely include all the links of all your social medias in the show notes and show description so people can have access to that. And to wrap up this amazing conversation, I just love your energy. I love everything that you are doing and helping so many people learn the English language, which is actually pretty hard. I don't know if people understand how hard it actually is to learn English, but kudos to everybody who was learning. The last question that I love asking all my guests is, what does the American dream mean to you?
Oh, that's such a beautiful question. I feel like a lot of people relate or like think of the American dream in terms of money. I feel like that's like a big thing.
Mm.
But when I moved to the United States, I went with this dream. For me, it's more about like belonging and family, like creating this little part of like a home, because the United States is this country that full of people in from all over the world, but there is this little piece of land that you can create like anything that you want to create. Like I went there with nothing and I wanted to have a home and then have community. And for me, it's all about community. If I had to
Yeah.
say American dream equals what, for me it equals community, honestly.
Oh, that's so beautiful. That is so true. It is like you're right. Like this country is filled with so many people from all over the world that you just want to find your own community, right? A place away from home that feels like home.
Yes. And you can find it. I feel like a lot of times you can find it and then it becomes your home. The United
Yeah.
States is huge, but then somebody asks me home and I think Idaho and people are like, what? And I say, yeah, home is Idaho.
Oh, that's so funny. Oh my gosh, Erica, thank you. Thank you so much for your time today and for all the work that you're doing. Again, I will include all your links in the show notes and show description so people can connect with you and follow your journey and then also learn English if they're interested as well. But thank you so much for this.
Thank you, Heidi, and thank you for the invitation. This is one of my first interviews as a guest, so I'm very excited.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Absolutely love that. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Heidi.
Thank you for listening to Mummy Podcast.